were accused of underreporting, and our numbers appeared to be low. And so I can assure you that once we went back and reviewed, it was at the low end of the continuum. So when you use force to put handcuffs on somebody, we weren't necessarily reporting. When you use force to put an emotionally disturbed person into an ambulance, we did not file a use of force report. So as a result of NJ.com, and in the spirit of transparency, we did three things. Number one, we wanted our use of force forms to become mechanized. So just like their reporting system is electronic, now when they file a report, the use of force report comes up. So they don't have to go looking for a piece of paper to file a use of force report. So we wanted to bring a little bit of accountability. Second, we educated everybody in the department, again, on the use of force report policy from the Attorney General. So every police officer, 950 police officers, went through the definition of use of force and what we expected from a police department in terms of our leadership and how often they needed to file these reports. So that increased the number. And then the third thing is, every time we make an arrest in Jersey City now, we send a supervisor to the scene to ensure that the rights of those being arrested are maintained, and to make sure that our police officers understood that we were there to protect them from false accusations. So those three things account for the numbers going up on our use of force. Now, the last thing I want to say about the transparency issue, yes, we want to disclose. The problem is, and what has to be talked about is, are we disclosing discipline related to those things that are not related to use of force? So if a police officer was a knucklehead 15 years ago and was involved in a drunk driving incident and has been a stellar police officer for 15 years and has retired and has moved on and is now an executive with a bank, do we really want to disclose that? What purpose does that serve? And I think the point is, when we come to the table, is to discuss what is in the best interest of moving police departments forward from a transparency standpoint, and what should not be released because it has nothing to do with the narrative and what we're talking about here. And I think those are the things, and I have not formed an opinion yet, but those are the discussion issues, and it's not just as simple as just release everything 20 years ago. Some of those police officers are not only retired, but they're deceased. And so if you asked me to release use of force related to a police officer, sign me up. I don't have much of a problem with that. I have a problem when we start to look at discipline when a cop was a knucklehead 15 or 20 years ago that's not related to the narrative that brings us here today. So those are the kind of discussions that need to happen.